And I met with one of them, and he had done a telephone poll to see, what are, the chances of the various candidates were. And I, of course, was at the bottom, which I would have expected. But I did have 4%, which was 4% more than I would have expected. So I saw that as a good sign. And turned our petitions in February. And you guys remember the rest. We had our first big fundraiser in February at Riders Inn. Most of you were there. We had a lot of great speakers. We all worked very hard, not only for my campaign, but also you guys worked so hard for Matt Lynch. Unfortunately, on May 6th, I think it feels like forever ago now, he did not win his race, but we found victory with my race, thank God. And believe me, there was a lot of divine intervention that played a part in that, as well as all the hard work that you guys did. So now we are September 16th, I think. 49 days left. I just ordered our second literature piece, and this is really fun because the first one was just kind of an introduction about me. The second one is an introduction about my opponent. And this is really fun because we basically created a movie poster, and we are making up this story called Farewell to the King. And at the bottom of this is going to be a website, and we're going to have a trailer. I actually was working on it most of the day today. So when these lit pieces get distributed, they can go to this website and watch the trailer of this movie, and then it'll give you a little 2-minute history of the last 16 years of our lives with this man reigning in office. And so that's really cool. What we need help with now. Obviously there's a lit drought going on. It's been happening for a long time because there are a lot of houses to get to. There are about 25,000 houses on the list. And in the primary, I believe you guys were able to cover 5,500 plus. It kind of went back through and hit some precincts again a second time. Obviously the geographic area is the same, but there's more stops along the way. But the reason this is so important, not only for myself, but also for the rest of the candidates up here, is because a county-wide mailer costs anywhere between $10,000 to $12,000, just one. And so that's how much you guys are saving our campaigns by taking these things door to door. And let's see, what else? This might be shocking, but voting for military is actually starting this Saturday. So that's another reason why we wanted to get a head start on this, because it's a lot of ground to cover, but also with this early voting. This Saturday, how many of them do you think have heard of most of their local candidates? Probably not many. And when they call home and say, hey, Mom and Dad, who do you think I should vote for? How many of them do you think have heard of most of their local candidates at this moment? Probably not many. So somewhere around October, when does September 30th, okay, is when absentee ballots start for everybody else. So pretty much we have to assume that we need to have most of our campaign done up until that point, so that people have the most opportunity to have at least heard of us. Now, thank goodness for me, I have an R by my name, and so does Ron, but the rest of these guys don't get to have a letter by their name. So it's even harder for them, those military personnel who are going to be voting this weekend. How are they going to know who to vote for? So that's why going to door is imperative. So that's what we want to be focusing on the next 49, 48 days. I'm going to be pushing a lot out online. We're relying a lot on word of mouth. So when I get these videos going, because we're going to have the trailer, but then we'll do others, we'll have a video on each issue. So I'm going to email that out. I'm sure Chuck will forward that out to everybody. And if you could just share it with your friends and family and everybody you know, that'll help. And we'll just keep plugging away. And November 4th, hopefully all of us up here will be partying hardy. Thank you so much for having me here tonight, and thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Our next speaker is Ron Young, and he doesn't know it maybe, but he has 5 to 10 minutes. And he was expecting at least a half hour, but he's going to get the shepherd's crook if he tries that.
Thanks, Chuck. Good to see everybody again. I got to tell you, real quickly, I watched the debate between, or interview, I guess it's called, between Kim and Dan Troy. The News Herald debate's televised. You can view it. I'll tell you, I've never seen such a distinct contrast and such a clear victory. It shocked me. You know, with all the years of experience Dan Troy has, Kim just absolutely tore him apart. I mean, it was embarrassing for Dan. I mean, if you get a chance to view that, I think it's really telling. Well, it's campaign time again. I've been through this before. I got to tell you, every campaign, I feel a little bit like the praying bear hunter. You know what the praying bear hunter is about? I got to tell you the story real quick. The praying bear hunter was out one day doing his thing, right? He's hunting for bear. And all at once he sees this big old grizzly wander across the clearing in front of him. So he takes careful aim, pulls the trigger, but at that instant, a black fly bit him on the neck. And his shot went off. It missed. The bear looked up, saw him, and charged. It was only like 30 yards away, so it was bearing down on him about 30 miles an hour, 700 pounds, 2-inch fangs, claws. He knows he has one more chance. Takes careful aim, pulls the trigger, click, it's a misfire. So in an instant, the bear's on him, pins him to the ground. He cries out. He says, "Lord, please," he's praying, "give this bear religion." So at that instant, a beam of light comes down from the cloud, hits the bear square in the forehead, and miraculously the bear looks up into the light, and it speaks, and it says, "Thank you, Lord, for this food that I'm about to receive." So I feel a little bit like that every time I run for re-election. I always pray that I'll win, and then I win, and I'm thrown back into the chaos in Columbus again. But it's a mixed bag in Columbus. We've done some good things and some bad things. I'll go over the good quickly first. Number one, when I took office in January of 2011, I committed, Ohio was still in the middle of a recession, I committed to working hard on jobs and economic recovery. And I think most of the legislature did. And I think we've been somewhat successful in that arena. For instance, when I was running for the office in 2010, Ohio's unemployment rate was 10.6%. I keep clicking at you here, don't I? It was 10.6%. The federal average was 10%. So Ohio was lagging the national average significantly. Can you hear me? Okay.
No, you need to hold it up.
Okay, all right. So Ohio's unemployment when I was running in 2010 was 10.6%. The national average was 10%. So Ohio was lagging the nation. This July, Ohio's unemployment rate, and it's been the same ratios through the whole year, in fact, Ohio's unemployment rate was 5.7%. Significant drop. Now the national average dropped too, but it dropped to 6.2%. So now you see Ohio is leading the national average significantly. There's been a big turnaround there. A lot of other indicators as well show that Ohio is improving faster than the national averages. For instance, when it comes to net exports, Ohio's exports, we broke our record in 2013. Over $50 billion worth of goods exported from the state. That's more than twice the national average of increase. So we're doing pretty good in that arena. When it comes to wages, and we're not, obviously none of us here are making as much as we deserve, right? But nonetheless, Ohio's wages did indeed improve. From 2011, January 2011 till April of this year, Ohio's average wages increased by Ohio's total wages increased by 9%. The federal average was 5.5%. So again, Ohio leading the nation. Well, misspoken. We are not leading the nation, we're leading the national average. When it came to job creation, Ohio was number one in the Midwest in 2013, and in January of this year, we were number 2 in the nation. So Ohio's improving, and improving faster than the rest of the country, now than most of the country. That doesn't mean we're there yet. We have a long way to go, but there is real improvement. And what have we done in the legislature to help that? Well, I think everybody in this room knows government does not create jobs. right? I mean, government can engage